I think financial education needs to be taught in context. It's sad because people don't even read, can't even read their payslips.
So talk us through, just tell the listeners in terms of Mintago, what is the purpose of the business? What problem are you trying to solve?
So with Mintago, it's all around financial well-being. What we found when I started the business is that financial well-being is a broad term. It's a big problem to solve. A lot of people don't know how to approach it. But what the market has, as we would describe it, are mostly point solutions. And that's fine because as the industry historically, the companies that have been in the space offered great solutions, whether it's, different types of like loans or, access to money or education, which is fine, and or coaching. There's all kinds of things that are out in the market. And historically, the buyer, the HR directors or finance people would have to choose, okay, what do I want from my staff? And is that the right thing? Well, maybe it is because that's what I think they need. And fast forward to today, it's more or less still like that situation. No one else has really come to the scene except for us. So with Mintago, I like to say we're the most employee-centric or user-centric financial well-being business out there. The reason why I say that is that we start with the end user. Obviously, the model is similar to BerkBox in the sense that we charge the employer a fee. But we start with the user and we look at what the user wants and understand that every user is different and their financial goals are different and the products they use are different. So how can you go for point solution? Technically speaking, you can't because not everyone will be happy with one solution or two. And the problem is, and that's one side, and the employer doesn't want to buy 5 solutions and have to deal with 5 different platforms. So that system will evolve, and I think we're at the forefront of that evolution right now. So we're sensing a massive kind of shift in terms of let's solve for financial well-being properly. So the way we do this is that we have a great platform that anchors people around pension as a starting point. Why? Because pension is one of the largest assets that people own, and it's very poorly optimized. They lose pensions. There's about 26 billion pounds of lost pensions in the UK. That's a starting point. The great thing about what we do is that we're unbiased. So every time we find a pension, it's yours. You can choose what you want to do with it. You're not forced to consolidate. So like I said, back to my point about business model. There are pension tracing services out there, but they make their money through consolidation fees and all that stuff, right? So we don't, which is great. So I think we were trying to make sure that we are giving employees that choice, to do what they want to do, and employers recognize that. They love the fact that we're going through the whole checklist of things that employees need from a financial point of view and helping them out, starting with pension. Fast forward into the future, we're going to create a Mintago Health Score, which is basically the North Star or the guiding light for every user. We believe that in the future, by optimizing these various buckets, where it's debt, pensions, income, finances, a whole range of things that comprises financial health or can be scored, measured, and optimized. So the end user sees a very simple interface. So it's like, I want to get this out of my life. I want to be, here's my future version of myself with kids, a house, blah, 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 out of debt. And we're going to say, okay, right, well, you got a journey ahead of you. These are the things you need to do, and this is what we can see. And using technology, use a combination. We do have advisors as well who can pick up the phone and talk to get you there. And I think the exciting thing about what we're trying to do is to be 100% user centric. That's the best way to describe it, and find tools and solutions that can service you, starting with pensions.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I think that sounds great, by the way. And I mean, one thing that comes up on a lot of these podcasts when I'm interviewing people, especially from the fintech world, is the lack of education, financial education, that people, are privy to, especially in the first half of their life, if you like, because there's not really any financial education in schools, is there? And I know there's a big educational element to your platform, isn't there? What do you think about that, Chieu, in terms of, do you think we should be teaching financial education in schools? Do you think that that's something that young people should be, because, when I was growing up, I had no idea about how a pension works, and I had no idea about anything to do with finance.
Absolutely. I think it needs to start with the government, to be totally honest, and it needs to be part of what we do as as a government. I think government needs to fund more programs to really, schools, working with schools to have that as a proper curriculum. I have a 12 and 14-year-old. I'm trying to teach them, but they're lucky because they have parents that care and will push them, but they don't get that education at school today. Right now it's not some distant past that this was a problem. So that needs to be resolved, sort of systematically. And then the types of education, it's sad because people don't even can't even read the payslips, like basic things like that. They don't know what that means. So for me, the view is yes, teach them in schools. But if obviously you missed that boat and you're into the workforce, I think financial education needs to be taught in context. So what I mean by that is people are not going to just watch, yes, they're going to watch, or read long text or whatever that's out there, but give it to them in sort of, here's what you need to do and here's how you can do it in context. I'm using education plus action and make it as close as possible. So for example, debt management, right? Okay, here's why debt is good, good debt, bad debt. Oh, here's some links to deal with your cards, your mortgages, whatever. So connecting the two is really important because what people do is that people hate people hate reading about finance in general. Just it's boring for a lot of people.
Yeah, sure.
But they like to see outcomes. They like for what we found. They like to find assets or hit milestones or achieving goals. That sort of the psychology of money is so powerful, and I think that's a very interesting area to really talk about and dive deep in. For any business, if you really want to solve financial well-being, understand the psychological drivers of that. And so that education is a big part of that. Teach them, but also show them how to do it and reward them for doing it.